if I gave you this 10 euro bill and asked you to share it with a random person here in the audience? How much would you give away? Well, researchers have asked this question to thousands of people all over the world. And the answers were the same almost everywhere. The majority of the people would give away between 40 and 50% of their money to a stranger. Now, why is that? Why would you give your money away to a stranger? Well, some scientists believe that altruistic behaviors like giving, helping, and sharing are actually crucial to the survival of our species. And this contradicts our traditional view on evolution, where the fittest individual survives by competing instead of helping. Well, when we look at our physical biology, these new scientific theories might be right. Because research points out that giving, helping, and sharing might actually be in our DNA and that they are very healthy for us. There are multiple health benefits associated with giving, like lower blood pressure, higher self-esteem, less depression, greater happiness, longer life, and lower stress levels. So science from different disciplines points out that giving, helping, and sharing are actually in our human nature and actually good for us. We are wired to connect. But not only that, it's also just a nice feeling, isn't it? Maybe you've ever experienced this feeling of a warm glow after helping someone. Well, when we look at our economy, there's not much room for giving or helping or sharing. We need to be efficient, we need to be competitive, and we need to make profit. This is how we are being managed, and it's what we are rewarded for. So, whether we like it or not, the behaviors that make us happy and that are actually good for us, giving, helping, and sharing, are actually discouraged by our current economic system. And this is not without consequence. A recent study in the US shows that over 70% of the people feel unhappy and disengaged at work. And also here in Holland, burnout rates have increased with almost 50% since 2009. And these statistics should be alarming to us. Well, in my case, they were more than merely a statistic. I felt very disengaged when I worked as a business consultant in a large organization. My job was to optimize processes, reduce costs, and of course, make profit. I worked hard, long days, great salary. But some days I worked so hard that I didn't even have time to make a quick joke with my colleagues or an informal chat at the coffee machine. Everything I needed to know was captured within the 15-inch screen of my laptop. And the harder I worked, the more unhappy I felt. And one day I realized the absurdity of my situation. I was sitting alone in a glass cubicle, staring at a screen all day. And I felt so disconnected. I felt disconnected from people around me. I felt disconnected from nature. And worst of all, I felt disconnected from myself. So I decided this needs to change. This cannot be the purpose of my life. And I also started to wonder, if giving, helping, and sharing are so good for us, how come we didn't incorporate them in our economy? And would it be possible to develop a business model that suits our human nature better, so that we can work and be connected at the same time? Well, these questions were answered when I stumbled upon a video about Soul Kitchen. And Soul Kitchen is a pay-as-you-can restaurant in the United States. And pay-as-you-can means that there are no set prices on the menu, but everyone can decide for themselves what they think is a fair price to pay for a meal. When someone gives a little bit more, this money is used to pay a meal for someone else. And when someone doesn't have money, they can do volunteer work in exchange for a meal. So everyone can contribute in his or her own way. And this not only makes healthy food accessible to everyone, it also formed the basis for a strong community of regular customers and volunteers. So this restaurant wasn't only flourishing financially, it also created social value. And when I saw this, I got really excited, because here it was, a business model that wasn't just about profit, but valued human interaction as well. And it proved to me that giving, helping, and sharing don't have to be mutually exclusive with running a healthy business. And it made me curious. And I wanted to know for myself what it would be like to run a business in a social and connected way. So I quit my corporate job and I started my own pay-as-you-can restaurant called Geef, which is the Dutch word for give. Well, working with the pay-as-you-can model was something else. I really needed to radically change my way of thinking because I needed to learn how to trust. In the beginning, it felt very awkward to just give away meals to random strangers and hope that they would respond in an honest way. I did not experience that feeling of warm glow at all. I felt very vulnerable. I felt very exposed. But after a while, my mindset began to change because I learned that it was because of my vulnerability that people wanted to respond in an honest way. They didn't want to betray my trust. And that made me trust them more. And this led not only to real connections, but also to very honest gifts. People give an average donation of 21 euros for a meal, which leaves us with healthy margins, a very fair price. Also, something else happened. We started to create social value. So every week, people come in from all walks of life and help us in the kitchen and the restaurant. Old, young, male, female, rich and poor all come together to work and provide a healthy meal for other people. And this also gives us this great feeling of fulfillment and connectedness. And this is not only felt by us, it is also translated through to our customers, who often come back to volunteer themselves. And maybe this is why our waiting list for volunteers covers almost 2 pages. So I learned that a business model based on giving, helping and sharing can work very well from an economic point of view. But it also creates social value and it makes you feel really good and connected. However, I feel the pay-as-you-can business model is merely a tool. I think it's the intention behind it that makes the real difference. So, you don't need to start your own pay-as-you-can restaurant to work in a more connected way. I think everyone can contribute to an economy that suits our human nature better. Now, how do you do that? The first tip would be to actually trust that people will respond to you in an honest way. Then, dare to make yourself vulnerable and be the one who gives first. And also, let go of the assumption that other people are only after maximizing self-interest. Because I can tell you from my own experience that that is certainly not true. So if we do these things, if we dare to make ourselves vulnerable, if we dare to give, then we provide ourselves with the opportunity to not only work together, but to be truly connected. And that is just not just pleasant, it is also healthy. So, to leave you with a little taste of what this connected economy can feel like, I'm about to give this 10 euros to someone here in the audience with the request to share it with someone you don't know. See what happens, see what it does to you, how it makes you feel. Because for me, when I started sharing and giving, it changed my life in a way that money can't express. Thank you.